I live in the UK. I'm a beauty therapist, and one of my clients actually introduced me to the products. And to be honest, at first I was quite skeptical, when I shouldn't have been. Why should anybody be skeptical of, fruits and vegetables, because we all absolutely need them. Anyway, so I said yes to joining the business and the products all at the same time, because that way I got a discount. And as a beauty therapist, having a salon, I was, your hands kill when you do massage all the time and things. So I was always looking for another way as a plan B to make money. So right now I've got quite an international team growing, and it's great because lots of people are doing this on top of their business. So for me personally, I used to have IBS, and after just 2 weeks of taking these capsules, which Wendy will show you shortly, my IBS totally stopped. My youngest daughter used to have chronic asthma, and she used to be on, the blue inhaler and the brown inhaler. And after about 5-6 weeks, she came off all her medication. And then, very quick story about one of my other daughters. She's got adolescent scoliosis, which is a curve in the spine which goes both ways like that. And it took about 5 months for, to heal, because you'll hear other people's stories later. We're all different, and your body has cells in it, obviously. So it takes, if someone's got something wrong with them, it takes longer for the nutrition to feed and flood and fuel the body. So for some people it can take 2 weeks, some people it can take 4, and some people 5 months. Anyway, she was told she could never jump on a trampoline or doing running. Well, she actually went on, after being on the products, to doing a half marathon. And because of that, she then joined the business. And while she does modelling, she's travelling all over the place, and she does this business on the side. So I won't keep any more of your time up, because I know you've got lots of things to share. Thank you.
Okay, thanks Yvette for that. What we're going to do now, I'm going to share the screen, and we're just going to go through some information with you guys to see why our nutrition has to be impeccably good these days. So just bear with me while I share the screen. So basically, we're part of the Healthy Revolution team. And a question to ask you guys tonight is, how are you taking care of you? Are you eating real food? Are you getting enough exercise? Are you drinking enough water? And are you sleeping 7 to 9 hours every night? Because they're all really important factors. On to the next slide now. Healthy living used to be simple years ago. And as you can see here, there's a young lad getting produce out of mom or grandma's garden, probably taking it in to be cooked fresh out of the garden, which is the best way to eat your food. Little kids in the garden, having a sip of water out of the hose pipe, which was very safe in those days. I remember doing it myself. And then the next photograph along, we've got little kids playing out all day, probably like I did in the summer, so they're getting plenty of exercise. And then the little girl on the end as well, she's like just been doing some swimming, which I did. So my health was never in question at all. But then when we go on to the next row of photographs, we can see the children on the bottom left there. They're tucking into McDonald's, which is probably the most famous fast food in the world now, but very unhealthy, unfortunately, and they look like they could do with a little bit of exercise. And the next lady along, she's like going to dip into her Coke bottle, which is basically sugared water, which is not the best drink for us to consume, probably the most famous in the world on the drink category. Next slide along, we've got a little guy there who's on his DS or his PS. When he comes off that, he's probably on social media like a lot of us are these days. And looking at his little body, he looks like he needs to get out and do some more exercise as well. The very last slide along, we've got the guy in the car, and he's looking like really lethargic. And we all know if we've got a car, we tend to go from A to B and do everything in the car. So he really needs to make an effort to fit in, maybe go into the gym or do some exercise, apart from travelling in his car, which is not always easy during the week. So on to the next slide now. Basically, there are two startling trends in our world. And to go on to the first one, food quality is decreasing. When we go into the shops, we've got absolutely plenty of choice of what we're going to pick off the shelves. But unfortunately, all these bad compounds that you can see on the screen, like preservatives, flavour enhancers, emulsifiers, synthetic vitamins, genetically modified food these days. The food's got less nutrients in than years ago, might have had pesticides on the produce section. Trans fats are in there, artificial colours, growth hormones. So all of these are not good for our bodies. So we don't always know what we're putting into our bodies. So we have to be careful. On to the next slide now. And the second trend is the world is very toxic. People don't realise how many toxic chemicals there are around us now. And on the top right, I'm not going to go through all the abbreviations because there's so many, but you can see there 232 toxic chemicals were found in the umbilical cord blood from US newborns. So they're even coming into the world now, unfortunately, and their little bodies are already toxic before they get into the world. Toxins are causing fertility problems, asthma, Parkinson's disease, and studies have shown that there's expected to be a 100% increase in Parkinson's disease by the year 2030, which is absolutely shocking. On the bottom of this slide, you can see all the chemicals listed there, but I'm not going to go through all of them. But just for you guys to be aware that we can't actually escape them in our day-to-day living, I'll read the top one off each list. It's in clothing, it's in food can linings, it's in carpeting, chemicals and toxins are in air fresheners, in paints, in furniture. So that's just to point out that in our everyday living, we cannot escape toxins coming into our body. So on to the next slide now, we'll take a closer look at the trends. On the top left-hand slide there, you can see all the junk food that it's so easy for people to buy, but listed underneath, there's many, many compounds in there that are really not good for us. On the next photograph along, you can see the scales, loaded down with donuts, cakes and sugary things. Unfortunately, if we eat too many of them, we'll weigh the scales down as well. Next slide along, we've got the alcohol. Unfortunately, many people don't realise just how toxic that can be, but the medics and the doctors are always telling us, you know, when we go for our checkups, how many units of alcohol do you have each week? They might question us, and they give us a limit, and the reason they give us a limit is because it is quite toxic and too dangerous to have too much alcohol each week. Next photograph along, you can see there's all the pills that we go and pick up from the doctors. Unfortunately, there's toxins in there as well, and the first thing we do when we get home is we look at the leaflet and we think, okay, what are the side effects going to be? Unfortunately, there's side effects in them because there's also compounds in there that are not very good for our bodies, affecting us. On to the next row now, and on the left we've got the lady there. She's looking stressed. She might want to pull her hair out. She might be working too much. She might be having late nights. She might be worried about her bills. But basically, we girls in the team have learnt over the last few years that stress causes inflammation in your body. And if you stress for a prolonged period of time, that stress turns into inflammation. And when you have prolonged inflammation in your body, it can set off a whole chain of events that can lead to various illnesses. And I think there's over 20 diseases now that are linked with that in the world. Next slide along, we've got the cigarette there. I've had them over the years, but never for a laugh and to fit in socially, but I've never had them full on. But there's actually 1,400 chemicals in one puff of one cigarette, so that just shows that is really bad for us as well. Next one along, we've got the microwave. I didn't realise until a few years ago when I saw a similar presentation to this that microwaving destroys 100% of the nutrients in your food. Next one along, we've got the char-grilled food barbecued. That can be cancer-inducing if it's char-grilled, so we have to be careful not to eat too much of that. Fortunately, in the UK, we don't have too many hot days where we're always barbecuing our food. Next row down, we've got the little guy with his toxic waste barrow there that is pushing along. He's got a spacesuit on, so not even a millimetre of his skin is exposed. But the question is, why isn't there a lid on that wheelbarrow of his toxic waste? That's very important. So it's in the atmosphere, which doesn't do us any good. Next one along, we've got a news flash: London choked by toxic smog cloud. So it's in the atmosphere, it's in the different weather types that we can have. Then we've got a photograph of the sea with all the pollutants that are going into it. It's in lakes and rivers now as well, so that water that the children were drinking in the garden possibly isn't that safe anymore just to drink from the hose pipe. Next one along, we've got the ozone layer. That's my downfall. Absolutely love being in the sun, but we're all aware that the ozone layer does not perform how it used to anymore. And we have to even be careful what we put on our skin, and you know, there might be chemicals in our sun lotions that aren't exactly good for us. So that's taking a look at the two trends. We're just going to go on the next slide now. The question is, what do we need to do to combat the trends? And believe it or not, the answer is quite simple. Now, when you look at this slide, you're probably going to think, okay, what do those words mean? It's not as simple as what Wendy is saying. But basically, oxidative stress is linked to our poor health, and it's really easy to understand. I love this example of the apple where it's been cut in half. You've probably had an apple yourself and you've eaten it and left it on the side, and literally within seconds, not even minutes, it begins to deteriorate. That's what oxidative stress is. It's just basically free radicals in the atmosphere that are attacking the apple. And you can see that lady there on the right, as she's aging, it does the same thing to our bodies as well. And our best defense is to put antioxidants into our bodies to come against the toxins. And Professor Bruce Ames from the Health Sciences Centre, he says every day the DNA in our bodies is hit about 10,000 times by these mutagenic oxidants. On to the next slide now, and you're probably thinking, okay, it's still not easy because you can see another complicated word. But basically, phytonutrients are plant chemicals. Now, there's good chemicals and bad chemicals, but plant chemicals are really good for us. And you can see on the right-hand side there, there's loads listed that are probably nearly 400 in this apple example. And I've got lots of friends and they say, oh, my multivitamin's fine, Wendy, it actually gives me like what I need. But unfortunately, there's probably about 20 to 40 compounds in a multivitamin that are helpful compared to all those fresh plant chemicals that are good for our bodies in one piece of fruit. So on to the next slide now. The question is, where are antioxidants and phytonutrients found? There you go. I said it was really easy. Basically, it's in fruits and vegetables and berries. And everybody's heard throughout the years we need our 5 a day. So as I said, it is an easy solution. But if we go on to the next slide, actually, is it? Because today's produce doesn't produce the nutritional punch that it did years ago. Some varieties, they've lost 5 to a whopping 40% of their nutrient content, according to the Journal of Horticulture of Science. And that might be to do with the soil that it's grown in. It might be to do with many, many factors, but it isn't as nutrition. So now the medics are saying we need 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. And it's not just like a little tiny portion on your plate, on your meal. It's actually whole hands full of that fruit, vegetables and berries to stay healthy each day. So on to the next slide. I'm just going to point out about the daily Eat Well plate. And when I saw this 4 years ago, I realised that my diet was really unhealthy and I needed to do something about it. It's divided into 3 sections there, mainly 3/3. On the top left-hand side, you can see that there's all the carbohydrate food, the bread, the potatoes, the pasta, etc. On the right-hand side, we've got all the important antioxidants, phytochemicals in the fruit, veg and berries there. The bottom section, that's divided into 3 smaller sections. And on the left, you can see all the protein foods. You've got your egg, your meat, your poultry, fish, etc. On the right-hand side, you can see all the dairy. Now, unfortunately, dairy's being proven more and more not to be that great for us because it causes that inflammation that I talked about earlier. And if you have that over a prolonged period, it can cause different illnesses. So a few years ago, I decided to swap from cow's milk to plant produce milk, and I feel a lot better for it. And if you think about it, what was cow's milk designed for originally? It was actually designed for calves to feed them, and it was designed to make them into heifers. So I just like make a little joke about it, and if we drink enough of it, what will it do for us? That's right, it'll make us into heifers as well. Now, looking at the smallest section there, that should be the smallest amount that we put into our bodies, like all the sugary foods, the fat, the butter, the chocolate, the sweets, the E numbers, everything that's not good for us. We really should eat a small portion of that. But I really didn't do that in years gone by, and I had to wake up and improve my diet. So that's just for you to see what your daily Eat Well plate is like. I'm just going to go on to the next slide now. And I'm just going to talk about Dr. Smokey Santillo from USA. He's a homeopathic doctor and believes in remedy by different herbs going into your body and different foodstuffs that are really good for us. And what happened here is his dad, he was dying of cancer, and he'd only got 3.5 weeks left to live, unfortunately. But I'll go on to the next slide so you can see a little bit more about that. Here you can see he got a problem with his spleen. He got lymphoma. It was the size of a football. That had been ripped out of his body while Dr. Santillo was working away somewhere else. They'd given him chemotherapy that had failed, unfortunately. So he was now told he wasn't going to live longer than 3.5 weeks. He couldn't eat or drink anymore, and it was very likely impossible, and his condition was unable to be reversed. So Dr. Santillo went and got hold of him, and he said, I'm going to take you home, Dad, to my homeopathic practice. And he covered his body in oil to get the good fats back into him. And he did a juice to drink of all the superfoods, and he couldn't eat it, he couldn't drink it. So unfortunately, he had to feed his dad anally. But during the next 3 months to the 6 months, he got stronger each day. He eventually got up off his sick bed, and he was a carpenter, so he remodelled Smokey's kitchen for him. And he went back to work for another 6 years, which was absolutely incredible. And Smokey decided, okay, if it's worked for my dad, I'm going to give this powder thing that he could do from the juicing. He then dried it, and he'll give the powders to his patients in his practice. And the healings that they were having were no less than miraculous as well. So he realised the hidden power of whole food, and the formulas he used are now available to the world. And we're just going to go on to the next slide so you can see what is in this formula. Basically, on the top left, you can see apple, carrots, and beetroot there. And they are the anti-cancer miracle drink. If you go onto YouTube, a lot of people have that fresh in their diets daily. Also, if you go down to the soya, there's 22 ingredients there that are all anti-cancer as well, but there's a myriad, of other health benefits along with them. As you can see, there's kale there, which is a superfood. There's spinach, there's dates, absolutely fantastic foods in there. Ginger, garlic, which we all know is good for us. So in the end, he decided to put all of these together and patented the product and gave it to the world. On to the next slide now, and we like to call it the healthiest fast food you'll ever have, because all it is whole food that's been grown, picked at the peak of ripeness, juiced as if you would juice fresh food, and then dehydrated. And it's full of the phytonutrients that we need to rid our bodies of toxins, non-genetically modified ingredients. It's dairy-free, it's gluten-free. There's lots of people that have these intolerances now. And it's also NSF certified, which is a company in America that back it up. So it's got the third-party quality assurance. They do stringent testing to make sure this comes through us as pure as possible to the end user. It's the most researched product in the world, and there's over 35 published clinical studies that's been done. And they're not only any old clinical studies, they're actually peer-reviewed studies. So that's a little bit about it. On to the next slide now. You can see these children here, they've got a chewable version of the capsule. Basically, if a child is between 4 and 21 and in full-time education, they can get this product for free, because this is a company with a heart. And then they start craving better food when they've been eating all of this food into their system. But I'm going to put a short video on for you now to see, and that's going to explain in depth more of what it's done for other people, and I hope you enjoy it.
Juice Plus is raw, vine-ripened fruits and vegetables in a capsule or a gummy. I like to call it a salad bar in a capsule. And it's the most thoroughly researched nutritional name brand product on the planet.
I'm a physical therapist, and so the science behind Juice Plus is important to me. But when you combine the science with what it's actually doing in people's lives, it's a no-brainer.
And that really helped me, because when you go into stores, there's shelves and shelves of product, and you don't even know what it is. If it's what's in the capsule or that tablet, you have no clue. With Juice Plus, you know.
People want to know. People want to feel better. And they want something simple and doable and easy. And, you know, we get so tired of all these diets and lifestyle plans that are so complicated with pages and pages you have to follow. And This is easy.
You know, life is just crazy, busy, fast-paced world now, and so it's just nice to have an answer like Juice Plus where we can get something that's convenient and simple, because so many times we're just looking for a really fast fix, and you can't get much faster than capsules and soft chews and getting it down quickly. So you don't have to worry about your kids not liking the taste, because there's no taste. You just swallow a capsule. So you don't have to worry about how am I going to prepare this or hide it or be all clever. It's just like, take your Juice Plus.
The fact that it's an easy, simple way for me to get this in my body every single day without thinking about it.
I don't know how much simpler it could get that they actually did the work for us and I don't have to juice.
I don't always have time to chop and dice and slice and clean and all of that. So Juice Plus is a lifesaver.
Where can you go in life and get that? I go to bed every night and go, thank you, Juice Plus.
Hope you all really enjoyed watching that. We're just going to go on to the next slide now. And here, as I said, it can be claimed free for children, and it's really helped my son because he was really poorly a couple of years ago, and he never used to eat really good food, but now he even goes out and buys salads. But you can see the listings here of what it's done for them. Children take fewer over-the-counter prescription drugs, they miss fewer days of school, they eat more fruits and vegetables, they visit the doctor less, they consume less fast food and soft drinks, they drink more water, they're more aware of their health, and a whopping 96% of them reap a positive benefit of some kind. And to get them free for the children, all that has to happen is the adult who's on the capsules has to fill out a questionnaire during a year of signing up to take the product themselves, just to say if there's any behavioural changes in the children. So on to the next slide now. So this is just showing you that Juice Plus has been proven to be bioavailable, and all that means is it absorbs very easily into your bloodstream, into your body straight away. We just drink loads of water with it for that to happen. And it improves cardiovascular wellness. It supports the immune system. I've not had a cold or flu now in over 3 years. It improves gum tissue. It reduces oxidative stress, and that keeps your bodily cells clean, which is all important for you. It reduces inflammation, it protects your DNA, it helps us have healthier skin, helps children come against childhood obesity, helps us have a better quality of life, and also helps us with lung health as well. So on to the next slide. Here you can see the universities that have been involved in clinical studies with it. And I'm not going to list them all, but just for you to see. And in the middle, we've got the MD Anderson Cancer Centre there. Obviously, they're wanting to make cancer history, so they're very involved in studies on this product. So on to the next slide. We're just going to talk a little bit about shredding the food toxins and habits that are not serving you. And we've got a program called Shred 10 that I did 2.5 years ago. I actually did it for 30 days, not the 10 days, and it really changed my life. On to the next slide now. On the top, if you imagine this person is on Weight Watchers like I used to do, or Slimming World or Atkins diet, they actually start the diet, and then in the middle you can see that yes, they've lost the weight, but unfortunately their body's got smaller, but all of those toxins are still in the body. Now what happens is at the end of that diet, they'll rebound because toxins get enrobed by fat cells. Now, the reason that happens is to protect our vital organs from getting damaged by the toxins. And I used to yo-yo diet all of the time being on Weight Watchers, and that's why it used to happen. But if you look at a cleanse, which is the next one down, what happens is when you do a cleanse by getting the toxins out of your body, you can see the little figure there has got smaller, but there's hardly any toxins in the body. So weight loss is easier and much quicker, and then there's no rebound. And fortunately for me, since I did it the last 2.5 years, I've never put my weight back on. So it's like an absolute fantastic weight off my shoulders now. So that's just the difference between a normal diet and when you cleanse your body. On to the next slide now. I'm just going to touch on the glycemic index. And what that is your blood glucose level in your actual blood. And on this chart here, you can see that the light blue line indicates you've got a high sugar level in your body. Now that's what I used to do on Weight Watchers. I'd eat all the sugary foods because I was starving in the morning, starving in the middle of the day, starving at night. and that made me grab the nearest thing, which wasn't a healthy choice. So my blood level, the glycemic level used to shoot right up, then I go a long time without food, and then it would go right down below the line there. And that was taking me out of the zone of willpower, so I couldn't like really sustain that for longer than a week or more. But if you take a Juice Plus shake, it's got 17 fruits, veg and berries in it, and it's low glycemic, and you just get like that gradual energy release into your bloodstream that you need, and it keeps you in that zone of willpower to help you. So that's just touching on willpower. So on to the next slide. You can just see my own results here. On the left-hand side, that was me on day 1 of the program. And then you can see in the same outfit, after 30 days, it was incredible. The fat was just like literally dropping off my body through the detox. 4 months on, I began to get leaner because I couldn't stand to eat sugary food anymore after my 30 days, and my diet was a whole lot better. And then that was me traveling around Christmas time just gone, still like happy to go on a beach. So absolutely fantastic results. Don't have to worry about putting my weight back on anymore. And some of the most common results are listed here on the next slide. And these all apply to me really. Craving more fruits and vegetables, healthier weight, better recovery from workout. My sleep improved, got increased energy, healthier hair, nail and skin, especially my nails. I'm finding I have to like file them down every 2 weeks to be able to carry on typing on my computer. Improve regularity and also increase mental clarity. Make a little bit of a joke about the last one because I'm menopausal. I think that's my least effective one. So as you can see, we are myself, Shelley and Yvette, the Healthy Living Community, and we're basically a movement of like-minded individuals on a mission to inspire healthy living around the world. And yes, you might shed fat in the process, but it's not a diet plan. It's actually to detox your body and help you get healthier. We've got private Facebook groups. There's a free cookbook on the Healthy Living Revolution site. There's a children's program where they can have chewies or capsules for free, depending on their age. We do live events out in the community, live events online like this evening. And if anybody joins us, we do continue to educate regarding this system. First thing people ask is, okay then, well, it looks all good, but how much is that going to cost me? But as you can see here on the left, the fruit, veg and berry capsules, you get 30 into your body every day by taking those, and they're literally just £2 a day to have that. On the right hand side, you can see the shake meal replacement that I talked about, and that is £1.76 a serving. If you add that up, you're still like spending less than a cup of coffee a day, and you're getting like 47 plant produce into your body each day, which is absolutely superb. On to the next page now. The company that do this, they're called NSA, and they've been marketing health and wellbeing products for over 40 years in more than 20 countries worldwide. We're distributing Juice Plus in 26 countries now. They've just opened up Dubai this year as well. It's a leading company in the nutrition industry, and they started off with smoke detectors. And when that market became overwhelmed, they went into doing water filters. And then, if you'll excuse the pun, that got saturated as well. But as you can see, it's always been a company that are interested in the importance of health, the scientific research that backs it up, and also in the value of helping people. So that's just a little bit about the company. So we would like to invite you to join us, to join the Healthy Revolution. That might be you want to promote it and help people around the world. You might have people who are sick in your family that you think it would be good for them to give it a whirl and see if it can help them. But we'll leave that up to you, and you can come back to the person who invited you to see the event tonight. And here we've got a scripture out of the Bible that says, "Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the surface of all the earth, and every tree which has fruit yielding seed, and it shall be food for you." So we had the blueprint all those many, many years ago, but these days we really don't stick to that blueprint at all. Shelley's journey is going to come up. We do not make any medical claims, as everyone is different, but we've seen what happens to so many people in the business and people that we help. We like to share our stories, as it's so many lives around the world have improved with improved nutrition. And just to say, it's to bridge the gap. It's not meant to replace your whole food. The best method is always eat fresh, organic, whole food to help your body. but you can bridge the gap if you find that really, really hard to do. So what I'm going to do now is come out of the share screen.
Okay, thanks, Wendy. Right, okay, so like so many other people, I thought health problems, health issues, everything like that always happened to the other person. It was never going to get me because, hey, it's me, you know? But guess what? The health monster caught me, and in October 2015, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. It all started off really quite simple, just got a bit of pins and needles in my big toe. This progressed into my right thigh with a bit of weakness, went to the doctors, and she says to me, look, Shelley, you're getting old, go home, exercise, and I'm sure it'll come better. Did exactly what I was told to do, and guess what? It didn't. It got worse. The worst point, I was numb from both feet all the way up, right to underneath my bust line. It was numb and pins and needles, but ironically, although I couldn't feel anything, I could still feel pain. The pain was so intense that I couldn't even stand my clothes touching me. It used to hurt even if you just brushed past me. So when my kids came for a hug, it really hurt me. So my natural reaction was to push them away. So it wasn't just hurting me physically, it was hurting me emotionally, and it was hurting them emotionally because they're only little. They didn't understand why mum was pushing them away. So my balance was off. I was falling over all the time. I was head to toe in cuts and bruises. And if you were unlucky enough to be near me, you either stopped me going or you came with me. I suffered with tremendous fatigue. About 3:30 every day, I'd be hit with a brick wall, and no matter what I was doing, I had to stop it. I had to go and lie down. I had to go and have a sleep. It's the only way I could get through the day. But then I was so tired at night, I couldn't sleep because I was in pain. So it just was a complete snowball effect, and just kept getting worse and worse and worse. A friend of mine said to me, look, Shelley, I'm on this whole food product. Come on it, see if it helps you. She says, it might not. It helps greatly with my arthritis. You've got nothing to lose. So I said, okay, I'll try it. I went on it, just thinking I could just pop these capsules and that was it. I didn't need to do anything else. Stayed on it for roughly 6 to 7 months. Decided it's not really working. So I came off. Started to regress, started to feel worse again. I put on lots of weight because I was comfort eating. I became very depressed, thinking the world and my children would be better off without me because, you know, I was ill, and I was thinking, I'm well insured. If I wasn't here, at least they'd have the finance to look after themselves and they wouldn't have to look after me. Again, my friend got hold of me. She goes, get a grip, Shelley. This isn't you. Stop it. They've just brought out the new part of the program called Shred 10. Give it a go. At this point, I would have done anything, absolutely anything, just to get a little bit of me back. So I said, yeah, fine, just sign me up. So I started on the Shred 10 program and started to learn a little bit more that it's just more than just popping these little capsules, and it's about your healthy living and everything else that goes with it. And I started to feel a little bit better. And like Wendy, I was on it for 30 days rather than just the 10 that they do now. And in those 30 days, I dropped 16 pounds. And I was like, yeah, I've lost a bit of weight. Cool. So that made me feel good in myself. But then I also started to notice things like my clothes weren't hurting me. I wasn't falling over as much. And 1 or 2 times, I didn't have to go to sleep in the afternoon. And then 1 or 2 times, I was sleeping through the night. And this just kept on progressing and progressing and progressing. And where I am now, I've just got little patches here and there of numbness in my legs and my feet. Nothing at all, really. I can hug whoever I want to, as much as I want. It doesn't hurt. I'm not in pain. I don't fall over. I do fall over sometimes, but usually when I think I'm 25 and infallible and I can do this and do the work of about 10 people. But, you know, it's going to knock anybody off the feet at that point. So and I sleep all the way through the night. I'm 80-90% Shelly again. It's absolutely amazing. And so my friend says to me, she says, why don't you join the business, Shell? And I said, look, Di, I've got my own successful business. I don't need another form of income. I'm not interested. So she appealed to the businesswoman in me and says, you can save a bit of money, you know, Shell, if you actually join. I went, okay, sign me up. So I joined the business. But then what happened is people were saying to me, wow, welcome back, Shell. You're back. What have you done? You look absolutely amazing. No one can tell you've got an illness. I mean, I'm not cured. This isn't a cure. Don't even think it's a cure. It's not. But you look fantastic. Do you think it can help us with this or that? I'm not going to go into it all. And so what have you got to lose? Seriously, what have you got to lose? And you've got everything to gain. Try it. And so I said, right, okay. So they tried it. And then they were coming to me, and what happened then is like, it completely blew me away. They were saying, Shell, thank you. Thank you. You've helped us. You've given us another crack at our life and our health. And I was like, wow, they're coming to me and thanking me. I mean, seriously, I'm just Shelley, you know, why are you thanking me? And they're like, because you introduced us to this. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. So this is like a 3-tier whammy for me. I've got my health back, and I don't care. You may think it's dramatic of me, but this is what I believe. I've got my life back. I can get people on the product, and they're thanking me and sharing me with gratitude, which makes me feel even more fantastic. And then on the 10th of the month, to show their gratitude, the company pay me for it too. So, you know, it's completely and utterly is the company with the heart. I mean, would I ever stop doing it? Would you? Really? So, without any further going on, because I would go on and on and on about this all night long, got one question for you. What are you waiting for? You know, for the cost of a night out, you've got your health products for a month. Seriously, a night out? Come on. Get on it. Get your own health story. Get your healthy back. Join us. Simple as that. So with that, I shall pass you back to Wendy. Thank you for your time, your busy schedules, and you're absolutely amazing. You rock. Thanks, Wendy.
No problem. Thanks, Shell. Never ever get fed up of hearing your story. Absolutely magnificent.